NFL takes here for you in the AFC North. The Bengals still having some notable contract disputes heading into training camp. Their star defensive end Trey Hendrickson is still looking for a contract extension, not expected to report to camp until they work out a long-term deal. Meanwhile, Lamar Stewart also absent. He's the lone first-round pick in this year's class who has not signed his rookie deal. Mike T, what level of concern for Burrow in the Bengals?
Apoplectic.
Mike T, what does that? I thought it was a mistype.
Yeah.
No, apoplectic.
Yeah. Can you spell that for me?
Yes, I can. It's a big level of concern, guys. And let me tell you why.
I can't believe Stephen A. doesn't use that.
Find me a word real quick.
I can't believe SA hasn't worked that into his regular vernacular.
Wow.
Look, Lamar Stewart, that's going to work out. That's just a little bumpy. That's paperwork. But we have talked about this in the past. I earnestly believe that we could be looking at Jalen Ramsey leaving the Jacksonville Jaguars for the Rams with a hold-in, meaning in this system now, it's really hard to hold out. But every day that this defensive end market goes up, guys, and now we're at $41 million with TJ Watt. We know Micah Parsons is going to be north of that. Trey Hendrickson's going to say, over the last 2 years, I've outproduced them all. I want 41, 42, 43 million. I just don't see Cincinnati getting there. So now, what does Trey Hendrickson do? Does he pull a Jalen Ramsey and show up and not practice? I think this is, by far, to me, guys, the most intriguing situation in the NFL because I think Parsons gets worked out, and I just don't know how this one gets solved.
I say it's tumescent, which is overblown. Tumescent.
Did you just Google?
I just got a quick Google, yeah. So it's overinflated.
Like pubescent. Like
Yeah,
I've never
kind
heard
of,
that.
but
Yeah.
tumescent. So
Kind of the same
when I
thing.
look at this situation, it is not ideal because this has the potential to linger for the Cincinnati Bengals.
Okay.
Absolutely. I agree with you on Lamar Stewart. I think this gets done. I think it's formality. I think they'll continue to butt heads until it's time to make the money. And I think the same thing about Trey Hendrickson. I do believe that they'll get him in the building. If the number continues to go up, then the Bengals have to live with that. But I don't think at his stage and where he's at in his career that he's going to miss meaningful time because at this stage you understand you don't have a lot of meaningful time left.
But Hawk, let me push back on that. Like, if you're representing Trey Hendrickson and you see, just fill in the blank, the Washington Commanders, the Buffalo Bills, you're the one player away. Like, wouldn't somebody give something of significance?
But didn't they try that already though?
Right, but
Like they already tried. Like they already said, hey, look, we could be in an open marriage. Go tell me what you want. If you want to leave for that, you
That's
should go.
not a marriage.
And everybody was like, nah, I don't want that. There's like, we don't want to give you something. We don't want to give you a piece high enough that makes sense for the Cincinnati Bengals. And the other part of that is not only do we have to give a piece away in order to acquire you, we have to pay you a certain amount of money. And so I do believe after having that opportunity in the offseason, there should be a conversation pays him a ton of money and that makes him extremely rich, but also with an understanding that you aren't Myles Garrett and you aren't TJ Watt and you aren't Micah Parsons. And that's so difficult when 17.5 sacks for the last 2 years makes you feel like you are. But it's all about the way that teams see you, the way that teams value, the attention that they feel like you can attract. And so for me, the concern is high is because even if Trey Hendrickson is there, if Lamar Stewart is there, which I expect them to be, they were still god-awful last year, right? And it's going to be the same DBs.
I want to just give you some information. I just saw this tweet here from Ben Baby on Burrow, our Bengals reporter. He said that Bengals exec Duke Tobin said that they hope to reach a deal with Trey Hendrickson. Unclear if that can be done, though, before the start of the season.
Yeah, but that's because that's what you should be trying to do. Trey Hendrickson is not only a phenomenal player, he's an excellent leader in the locker room. He's a dude that comes to work every single day and models the way you should approach your job. And so you want to get his deal done. The problem is when your quarterback is all world and he has changed the way that people look at your organization and he says, I want him and I want him, and you pay them both over $115 million, it's hard to do that and dedicate that money to Trey as well.
yeah, but RC, I think that's the point you're making, which is they have to get it done. Like a couple weeks ago, some people speculated could TJ Watt be traded. I'm thinking there's no way they don't go out and get Aaron Rodgers and trade for DK Metcalf not to get TJ Watt. Likewise, like if you get T. Higgins signed, if you get Jamar Chase signed, you have to get Trey
What
Hendrickson.
amount of money makes sense to you then, Mike T? Because Mike T, you believe that Trey Hendrickson, if Micah Parsons becomes the highest paid at 43,
Yep.
you believe Trey Hendrickson deserves 43?
No, that's why you laughed at me. But what I would have done is at the end of the year last year, knowing
You'd have locked him in a room.
That's exactly right, because Danielle Hunter got done. You have to
We
be
got a lot of
proactive.
people in a room.
But I'm just telling you, like,
Yeah.
that lock would have saved us millions of dollars.
Oh my goodness. I've been
That
dying to
price
ask
lock,
this
man.
though, guys. Do you feel like Burrow or Lamar Jackson's going to be the better quarterback in the AFC North this year? Because that's a tough one.
I think it's going to be Lamar Jackson. And
Yeah?
when you look at Lamar Jackson year over year, he continues to get better. I don't think anybody expected him to have the season he had a year ago. It didn't end in a Super Bowl win or a Super Bowl appearance, but as a player in a new offense, for what he did a season ago, I would argue that that's the best season from an NFL quarterback we've ever seen in passing and the rushing, which we kind of throw away that he rushed for 1,000 yards
Do you like
while
his
throwing over
team
4,000.
better, though?
I think the team got better. I think the way that they addressed their defensive backfield, which early on was a lot of the issue for the Baltimore Ravens, and now you add the safety that they brought in. You have Wiggins, Malachi Starks as well, and you put Jair Alexander at a corner spot. I think the job that Lamar has to do has become easier.
Yes. The Baltimore Ravens are going to be the better team. The Cincinnati Bengals quarterback, Joe Burrow, is going to be the better quarterback because they're going to ask him to. Joe Burrow is going to have a level of responsibility on him I don't believe that Lamar Jackson is going to have. They're going to say, hey, we got you, T. We got you, Jamar. We're missing some people on defense. You got to go do it. What I found fascinating in watching quarterback were the games against the Baltimore Ravens, where Joe Burrow played out of his mind, and Lamar Jackson did too. When you look at these two quarterbacks, it's a toss-up of how you like the position to be played. Both of them are phenomenal. Both of them are MVP caliber players. They're just asked to do it in a different way, and I believe we'll see that from them. But I think Joe Burrow is going to be tasked with more, therefore delivering more this year.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Lamar because I think this offense is slightly harder to defend. Look, justifiably so, all the oxygen went to Saquon and Jalen Hurts, but because of Derrick Henry, RC, you know, as a safety, like how are you going to defend that 1-2 punch? And that's why I think the overall approach that Baltimore has is harder to defend, and that's why I would give the slight edge to Lamar.
And I don't know if this makes sense to you guys. Like I do think Lamar's individual statistics and performance regular season this year take a backseat to team development. Right, to making sure that they're focusing on, we could run it here, we could do this, making sure they're focusing on the things that are going to win them games in the playoffs. And so it won't necessarily have to be, and his stats are going to be gaudy because he's that talented.
Yeah.
It won't have to be, Lamar needs to have these MVP caliber stats, but we need to be putting things in place. We need to be having the practices and the experiences that when we're faced with the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen, we don't turn the football over. When we're standing with Patrick Mahomes, I don't know if that's something offensively you understand.
I think you're spot on.
Andrew.
I mean, just look at the weapons around Lamar Jackson. We're no longer saying that they're deficient. Zay Flowers, Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely, Rashad Bateman, Derrick Henry, DeAndre Hopkins. This is a special group that when you mix them with a special player, it can't do anything but amplify.
Some special sauce, we'll see. Tomorrow on First Take, as our divisional take series rolls on, we dive into the AFC South with some fascinating quarterback situations brewing in that division. After this quick break, are we sleeping on Justin Fields in the Jets this season? After the franchise made major changes this offseason, find out who says yes next.
Đến với kênh YouTube của mình nhé. Ngày hôm nay mình sẽ tiếp tục đi tô mò để cho các bạn có những phút giây thư giãn khi xem video của mình. Và để làm được video này mình cần chuẩn bị những dụng cụ như sau. Đương nhiên sẽ không thể thiếu được, đây là điện thoại để quay lại quá trình mình thao tác pe. Và đây là bút sáp mỏ mình dùng để tô mò. Và đây là những sản phẩm được mình chuẩn bị sẵn để mình dùng để tô mò. Bây giờ mời các bạn cùng theo dõi quá trình mình tô mò và các bạn hãy ấn like và đăng ký kênh để ủng hộ mình nhé. Cảm ơn các bạn rất là nhiều.
Thành gốc ra đây của con nó mới cua được không?